$30 million in annual tax breaks for the entertainment industry remain the talk of Tinseltown. But cities just outside LA also receive a 5% tax credit bonus, icing on the cake when mayors from different cities work together.
So wherever you are and traveling, of course, advocate for your city first, but we really want to build a region-wide network of why your residents might work in my city and vice versa, of why it's important to bring us all together.
LA Mayor Eric Garcetti thanks city mayors from throughout our region for helping to push the tax deal forward. Now he's asking for more assistance, from making sure buildings are retrofitted for earthquakes to extending the Metro Gold Line all the way to Claremont and increasing the minimum wage to help struggling families. Local elected leaders agree there's strength in numbers when working towards common goals.
I think many of these issues, as we all know, don't stop at our city borders. They transcend over. Together, we can make much more of an impact, and many times at a fraction of the cost, which is always really great for our budgets.
And hopefully for our entire region as well. In the city of Monterey Park, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The neighborhood of Boyle Heights recently got a much-needed makeover as folks answered the call of community service. Yana Kay has more.
These volunteers are removing all the overgrown weeds and debris to make room for a community garden. About 1,000 volunteers rolled up their sleeves and went to work to clean up and beautify Boyle Heights, one of the most historic neighborhoods in the city.
Because everyone has to do their part to serve the community, to be able to coming together and, helping people that are in need and people who would benefit from our help.
Los Angeles City Controller Ron Galperin was on hand doing his part and giving folks some encouragement.
That's also one of the greatest ways that we can help with economic development in this neighborhood and all over the city of Los Angeles.
This annual event is put on by LA Works, an organization that mobilizes thousands of volunteers to give back to their community across the city.
We think by volunteering and being engaged in the community, you're going to have a much better sense of what's going on in terms of the quality of life for all of us.
Bob Johnson also says this event provides an opportunity for folks from all over the city to come together and get to know different neighborhoods while helping out a good cause. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
The Valley's busy orange bus line is headed for major improvements. A parade honoring our law enforcement officials and city leaders support decriminalizing petty crimes. These stories in City Beat. Council members Bob Blumenfield and Paul Krikorian take a key first step toward upgrading the Orange Line. They've directed city departments to make immediate and short-term improvements to improve the speed and efficiency of the heavily used busway by considering increasing the intersection crossing speeds from 10 miles per hour to not more than 25 miles per hour and possibly even converting the bus line to light rail transit. Starting in the West Valley, the Orange Line passes through each of Councilman Blumenfield's 5 communities across the San Fernando Valley before terminating in North Hollywood, just steps from Councilmember Krikorian's district office. The Orange Line first opened back in 2005.
My 1020 is Engine Company 27. I'm code 4.
The annual 10-4-day parade of vintage police cars took to the streets a couple of days earlier this year on 10-2. Members of the California Highway Patrol, the Los Angeles Police Department, and the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office all took part in the parade that stepped off or drove off from the Los Angeles Fire Museum. Special guests included actors from famous TV police shows and the police vehicles made famous by those shows, such as the classic TV series Highway Patrol that aired from 1955 to 59 and Adam 12. The event, hosted by Councilmember Tom LaBonge, honors public safety officers and all that they do to protect and serve our region. Los Angeles becomes the first major city to support Proposition 47, the voter initiative on the November ballot that seeks to decriminalize nonviolent petty crimes such as simple drug possession and petty theft. Councilman Curran Price introduced the motion in City Council, which was approved by the LA City Council. Prop 47 would change low-level nonviolent petty crimes from felonies to misdemeanors, helping to save California an estimated $250 million annually and curb levels of incarceration, especially among youth of color. That money would then be used for crime prevention and mental health programs. One Valley councilman wants to get residents in his district started on a path to better health, and he did so by helping them with the ABCs of planting a fall garden. Here's Anna Marcos.
You had to stick your fingers in the dirt for this one. Pacoima city leaders put on their first ever home garden workshop to get their city-dwelling residents more in touch with Mother Earth, their health, and the joys of gardening.
They have to take an active role in the community as well as in their own health. My district suffers from the highest rates of diabetes that's preventable amongst children, highest rates of diabetes in adults. And so if you get a little active, like riding your bike in like I did today, or planting a fall garden and cooking more at home, not only do you save money, but you also save yourself in the community.
The workshop offered a class, a cooking demonstration, and produce and garden giveaways, as well as activities for the kids.
Especially a city as has a lot of poverty, it's great to have education, because the more we know, the better we live.
A lot of times, the things that are offered to us at the stores are not of the best quality, and it's a lot easier to just grow it at home, and you know exactly where your fruits and vegetables are coming from.
Actually, it doesn't take very much to do. Once you do the original outlay for your fall garden, it's a little maintenance. It's just making a little time every day to do a little exercise. It's just a little maintenance.
The big message here, no matter what your income level or lifestyle, health and good food are within your reach. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
There are plans for other similar workshops, including one on composting. In this week's list of things to do, Swan Lake, a treasure hunt in Chinatown, and Boo at the Zoo. Los Angeles Ballet's acclaimed production of Swan Lake returns to UCLA's Royce Hall. Choreographed by artistic directors Colleen Neary and Thordal Christensen, it's the abiding tale of a swan queen, a prince, an evil spell, and an eternal love. You can catch the performance on Friday, October 17th from 7:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. Other dates are available. UCLA's Royce Hall is located at 340 Royce Drive. For tickets, other dates, and details, go to losangelesballet.org. Traditional temples, hidden courtyards, and the mysterious Mr. Lee. We're talking about the Great Chinatown Hunt, an exciting clue-solving adventure through one of the city's most colorful, diverse, and historic districts. The hunt takes place on Saturday, October 18th from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. with check-in at 9:30 a.m. at Chungking Plaza, located at 949 North Hill Street. Once on the hunt, you and your team will search for clues throughout this lively neighborhood, discover ancient traditions, and stumble upon picturesque alleyways and bustling shops. The event is organized by City Race, which plans 3-hour hunts through Southern California's many diverse neighborhoods. For cost and other details, go to racela.com. Trick-or-treating, jack-o'-lantern carving demonstrations, magicians, and much more. That's what's on tap at the annual Boo at the Zoo event, taking place at the LA Zoo on 2 consecutive weekends, on Saturday and Sunday, October 18th and 19th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and again the following weekend. The 2 spooky and safe weekends also include the opportunity to see special feedings for gorillas, elephants, orangutans, and other zoo residents as they enjoy pumpkins filled with treats to eat and play with. All activities are free with paid zoo admission. The LA Zoo is located at Griffith Park at 5333 Zoo Drive. Go to lazoo.org for details. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. And it's become a staple of city life here in Los Angeles, the occasional shutting down of big, bustling streets for the car-free festival, Ciclavia. Rasha Goel has more.
From a route marked from Echo Park to downtown Los Angeles to Boyle Heights, Angelinos had the chance to head to the east side for the first time at this October's Ciclavia event. Even city leaders took some time out of their busy schedule to enjoy the city.
This is the 10th time that we've closed down a space 4 times longer than Central Park to just experience the lifeblood of the city.
You see things when you're on a bike that you just don't see otherwise, the nuances. You see more of the businesses, you see more of the neighborhoods, more of the details of each neighborhood. And it's a really special experience.
Attendees could enjoy the experience by cycling, walking, rollerblading, or just about anything that didn't involve driving a car.
10 years from now, when we still have Ciclavia, we're going to look back at Ciclavia and say Ciclavia was the main impetus for all of us to continue to get to know one another through bicycles and other forms of transportation.
Ciclavia has become a celebration of both public spaces and public gatherings in Los Angeles and has received a great response.
I think we should do it as often as possible. Once a month would be great.
So you see all these type of people and all these families, and it's pretty amazing.
And if you happen to miss this one, don't worry. Ciclavia will be back in December and will have a new route running through South Los Angeles. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
The term Ciclovia with an O originated in Colombia, where on each Sunday and public holidays, main streets in certain cities are blocked off to cars for runners, skaters, and cyclists. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacitywiew.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook or find us on Twitter at LATW35. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Illegally parked cars? Call 311, the toll-free number for non-emergency services. 311, your one call to City Hall.
Don't worry, Patty. This isn't going to hurt me one bit. Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Shapiro in beautiful Encino, and you're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel. Open wide.
welcome to the Los Angeles City Council. I'd like to Good morning and welcome to the Los Angeles City Council. Today is Tuesday, October 14th. I'm Mitchell Englander, and we're going to go ahead and start the council meeting. Mr. Clerk, if you can please call the roll.
Blumenfield, Bonabusca, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Huizar, Carrasco, Correa, Labange, Martinez, Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson, 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
All right, first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Okay, Mr. Blumenfield moves, Mr. Bonin seconds.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Okay, Councilmember Koretz moves and Krikorian seconds.
Mr. President, today is Tuesday, and it would be time for the flag salute.
Okay, if we can have everybody in council chambers please rise for the flag salute, and if we can ask Councilmember Bonin to lead us in the flag salute, please.
If everybody could please place their hand over their heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much. All right, members, if I can direct your attention to the agenda, Mr. Clerk, let's go ahead and run through the agenda now.
Mr. President, there is a recommendation from the Department of Building and Safety to receive and file item 1F, inasmuch as the lien was rescinded, and continue items 1A, 1D, 1G, and 1H to October 28th. Further, there is a request from member to continue item 26 to October 28.
Okay, that'll be the order without objection. And on item 1 then, are there other items left?
Yes, sir, there are items B, C, E, I, and J remain.
And are there cards on any of those particular items remaining?
Yes, sir, we do have cards on item 1, sir.
Okay.
One and 2. Items 1 and 2 are items noticed for public hearing. Both have cards.
Okay, we'll go ahead and hold those items for cards on the desk. Next items, please.
Mr. President, items 3 through 25 are items for which public hearings have been held. Item 25 should be held on the desk until such time as the committee report has been circulated. Mr. President, I'm sorry. It appears the CLA has beat me to it, and item 25 has been circulated and is now before council for consideration.
That's government efficiency. Thank you for that. And colleagues, do we have any specials? Councilmember Koretz.
Item 15.
Item 15 held special for Mr. Koretz. Council members, any other?
That's my item. It's the same one.
Okay. Any other specials? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and open the roll on the remaining items. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Great. Excellent. Thank you. Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and also we have a request to move items 25 forthwith. That'll be the order without objection. Next items, please.
Very good, sir. Items 26 through 29 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, those are before us for consideration, so we'll go ahead without objection and have those. 26 was moved. 27 through then, as you said, 29. Do we have cards on any of those?
Mr. President, we have cards on 27 and 28. That leaves 29 before you.
Okay, 29, colleagues. Seeing no speakers on the queue, we'll go ahead and open the roll on item 29 and close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Great, excellent. Thank you so much. Item 30 is a closed session item. Is that a budget and finance item?
Yes, sir. It's coming from Budget and Finance.
Okay, Mr. Krikorian, do you wish to hold that? Or are you okay on? You want to hold that? We'll go ahead and hold item 30. And okay, we have a second forthwith request from Councilmember Kern Price, and we'll go ahead and second forthwith that item 25. Thank you. I can hear from here. All right, excellent. Thank you so much. And with that, colleagues, before we open it up for public comment, I've got a special presentation before us that I'm going to go ahead and do. And if I can ask Councilwoman Martinez to come sit in the chair during my presentation, if she would, and assume the role as Council President for a moment, I would greatly appreciate that.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. President. Each year, thousands of our residents flock to the mountains to enjoy winter sports, and they rely on these first responders in the event of an emergency. October, as you know, colleagues, is Public Safety Month here in Los Angeles, and we celebrate everything from fire safety to cybersecurity to our volunteer surveillance teams to CEMP and many others. Today, I'm proud to honor the first responders who protect our families when we're enjoying winter sports here in Southern California. I am proud to honor both the Bear Mountain and Snow Summit Ski Patrols for their outstanding service to our residents. These are not just weekend warriors. These are first responders who save countless lives and who carry this training with them from the mountains and then back to our city streets. In fact, many of these ski patrol and responders are city employees, for those of you that didn't know. Snow Summit, National Ski Patrol, and Bear Mountain Ski Patrol are members of the National Ski Patrol. Established more than 75 years ago, the NSP is a nonprofit, member-driven organization supporting safety in winter environments. Snow Summit, National Ski Patrol, and Bear Mountain, they have patrolled over 300 registered volunteer patrol members, logged over 20,000 hours of training. A lot of their training, in fact, is done here in the city of Los Angeles, 70,000 hours of patrolling, and responded to more than 6,000 incidents. Each year, every volunteer patroller is dedicated on average over 400 hours of training to become accredited as a ski or snowboarder patroller. Big Bear Mountain hosts over 3 million annual visitors who rely on the expertise of these volunteer rescue patrollers from Snow Summit to Big Bear. Snow Summit National Ski Patrol was founded in 1952, and Bear Mountain Ski Patrol was founded in 1946, and they continue to be a beacon in setting the standard for ski resorts worldwide. Snow Summit National Ski Patrol was recognized in 2014 as the outstanding large alpine patrol, runner-up in the national, earning the organization a silver unit star by the National Ski Patrol Association. Bear Mountain was the 2013 Far West Division Outstanding Large Alpine Patrol and finalist for the national recognition. On behalf of the City of Los Angeles and its residents, I'm proud to thank Bear Mountain and Snow Summit Ski Patrols for their service to our residents and to their safety. On a personal note, I have had interaction with them personally being up there, and my kids as well. And what we love about Los Angeles is we tell the rest of the world here that you can come here and in the same day you can go surfing in the morning and skiing in the afternoon. There's no place on earth that is like that. And while I don't anticipate that it would snow here in actually the basin here in Los Angeles, given climate changes in the last several years, I don't anticipate that. We do all take advantage of the fact that they are so close and our safety is so important. On top of that, we raise a lot of money for the YMCA and the PALS kids, Boys and Girls Clubs, and we send these kids for the first time in their life to see snow, to take lessons. And we hope that they would be safe when they're up there enjoying that. It's these volunteers behind us that save them, that help them, that provide that guidance. And when they're back here at work, whether it's with the city or whatever it is they're doing here in Los Angeles, they're also first responders, CPR trained, knowing that these are the ones here in a major emergency or just a local on-the-street incident. They're the first ones to jump up and help. And so I'm so proud today that we've got Tom Sherry, our member of the Board of Directors of the National Ski Patrol here, Jake Huxman, Patrol Director of Snow Summit and Big Bear, Steve Seeley, a Patrol Representative of Snow Summit, Jim Murphy, Patrol Representative of Big Bear. And before I ask them to speak, I wanted to just thank you for all the volunteer hours that you put in each and every day to make our region a safer place. So let's give them a round of applause. So we have a signed by all the city council members and our mayor, a resolution thanking Snow Summit, Ski Patrol, and Big Bear. We've got another resolution here as well, Ski Patrols. A big thank you to say thanks for saving lives, thanks for making this region a destination for the entire world, and to providing that type of safety that we all enjoy each and every day. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And now I will ask Tom to speak, and then Jake.
Thank you. Good morning. The National Ski Patrol has a proud history of serving the skiing and outdoor recreation public for over 75 years. Founded in 1938 and the recipient of a federal charter in 1980, NSP is the premier provider of accredited outdoor education and safety. The volunteer patrollers at Snow Summit and Big Bear are a shining example of over the 28,000 members of the National Ski Patrol and two of its very finest in over 650 patrols nationwide. I'd like to congratulate them for their dedication to the public that they serve so well, and thank the Los Angeles City Council for their recognition of a job well done. Now let it snow.
President Wesson and City Councilman Englander, really appreciate everything you've done for us here today. I'm a representative from Snow Summit, Inc., the paid patrol director, the patrol director up there, and I have just a couple things. Just want to say a word of thanks to all these individuals who come up and support our group. 100%, 300 individuals who get involved every time an incident happens. They do a lot of training in first aid, transportation, avalanche recognition and reduction, search and rescue, and the list goes on. And they just jump in and take care of it whenever we need that as going forward. Thank you guys very much for everything you do. And thank you guys for this honorable recognition. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. And just think about this in our first responders. Our firefighters are heroes because they're walking into those types of conditions and fires to save lives. Our police officers that run towards bullets. We've all been there, for those of us that have been on the top of a mountain, where the weather is unbearable, where you've got to get down that slope back into safety. You've got kids up there as well, perhaps campers that are up there, and all of a sudden the worst happens. Perhaps it's an avalanche. Perhaps somebody has wandered off the path and it's freezing conditions. Then you know if they're stuck out there and they're lost, they will die. They will not survive. Everybody is rushing down the mountain before that sun goes down, before it gets so bad that you know that if you're stuck out there at night, you will die. And you turn around and you see these redcoats running up the mountain, going up towards danger, knowing that they too could get stuck up there to find that little boy or that little girl, to find that family, to find that one that's hurt, and bring them back to safety. And they've done it thousands and thousands and thousands of times. So we thank you so much for everything that you do to help all of us. And I would also like to recognize my dear friend Tina Choi, who's here as well, part of the team, who we all know and love, and single you out.
Thank you.
Say thank you very much, colleagues. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Englander. Congratulations. Mr. Clerk, we'd like to take public comment now. Robert Lucas. This is public comment. Good morning, sir. You have 1 minute.
Good morning, everybody. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been down to the council, and I've moved from the Weingart area down to Pico and Fairfax in one of the transitional living houses there. Mr. Wesson, I believe, is in that area, and I have some very interesting information. And living in that environment with people taking advantage of this AB 109, let me give you a little insight to some of the incompetence going on. This Healthcare 360 is in charge with directing clients to these sober livings. I'm living in one. A lot of them are dual diagnosis. This just happened. They told me about a screening process before I got into the house. This is what the screening process consisted of: a referral sheet. We had dual diagnosis in one room, got on clinical trials with the drugs, had a psychotic episode.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lucas. Donna Perlman? Donna, you're next. You have 1 minute,
2
Donna.
minutes. I don't understand why 1 minute. Anyway, we need to fire Kerry and negotiate with Iran and impeach Obama. I hate Obama bringing Ebola here and making ISIS big over there in Iraq and Syria. Well, he'll go down as the worst president in history in America, and he'll shame American blacks, which he doesn't care about. Anyway, I want to tell you, Democrats are going to bankrupt the homeowners and taxpayers in 45th District Assembly seat. We need to vote for Susan Shelley. She wants to save Pierce Farm and stop the bullet train, which fund by the gas tax at the pumps. Votes for Susan Shelley. Democrats are hypocrites. They don't want to pay to protect us from ISIS. They want to spend the money to fight. We are losing Ebola. Let's isolate that people and let the disease die out. We need to close the borders. We need to have ISIS to contend with. We need to get rid of Baghdadi. 50 surrounding tanks surrounding Kobani. We need heavy weapons. We need to get rid of ISIS.
Thank you, Donna. Next speaker is Brian Barajas. Good morning, Brian. You have 1 minute.
Good morning. I don't know if I should say BAM president, but let me just say the crisis that LaRouche has said is that the only way this is going to work if you develop. The idea of development is easy. Think of what the causes of the problems that Donna just presented. ISIS. Okay. Look at H.R. 428. Release the 28 pages which specifies that the Saudi involvement of the first 9/11 and now the creation of ISIS is the same thing. If you release the 28 pages, you get rid of the funding for this ISIS situation. The Ebola, the process to get rid of that, you have to change everything. It's sort of like FDR today, but thousands of times bigger than that. We have a constitution. We can issue the federal credit so we can build ourselves up again. If you do not, we are in a dark age.
Thank you, Mr. Barajas. Arnold Sachs.
Yes, thank you. What a pleasant surprise, but 1 minute in keeping with, I guess, that government efficiency. So this is Metro's committee reports for the next 2 days. There's a lot of efficiency right here. It's like close to 1,000 pages. Do you think they'll get through it? My concern is some of the things with Metro, this first last mile strategy. Every mile is a first last mile strategy for everybody who takes public transportation. And I'm sure the council knows it because they're all using public transportation. Oh, well, maybe not all of them. And also my concerns with the local return funds and how it's being used. There's a 3% local fee that's not being charged to the cities for the gold line in the valley, or not the valley, in the San Gabriel area. Why is that?
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Next speaker is Jose Martinez. Jose Martinez. I don't see him. Cynthia Lester. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi. Thanks for this 1 minute of your time. Listen, I'm getting buried alive in parking tickets, and people are changing the signs around, cutting off the signs, and they're giving us tickets anyways. These people have to have mercy on us who are trying to get a job, and I'm stressed out, I'm sick, and they don't see the person behind the car. And I'm trying to fight it. They tell me to go fight it, and there's no winning. I don't have the right words, the right vocabulary to win these tickets. And I'm about to go homeless. I don't have a job. I don't know what to do. And they just keep wanting more and more money from me. And this issue is bigger. We are in a crisis where there's too many people in this world, and there's not enough jobs for all of us. You guys need to have a base income so you can take care of your people. You can't just tell people to pick themselves up by their bootstraps. It's not possible. Take care of your people, and we will be America #1 again.
Thank you. Next speaker, Henry Marin. Henry.
Yes, as you know, government checks account for every hour worked by workers in temporary or permanent positions. And MOUs show how much money others use tax-free and fail to account for yet. We know that money was sheltered from the pay of Hackler and Kohler employees at will of the Hackler Board and City Council. And government funds were provided to union trusts longer than the law allowed, and that the members of the Budget Committee agreed to shelter the pay of city employees by 10% longer than the law allows, and is not accounted for that money yet. Now, what y'all don't understand about trust, which you don't pay for in the first place, you got to pay for in the second place with interest. That's the way a shelter works. There ain't no discounts on money from the prevailing wage sum due to public employees.
Great, thank you very much. John Walsh, followed by Juan Acala. Actually, Juan, if you could just wait till John's done, thanks.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Go to @HollywoodDems for twittering. Worker at MTA was electrocuted yesterday. Electrocuted. It was in the LA Times. The building is a death trap. Who is the chairman of the MTA? That's right, our mayor. Has anyone ever been electrocuted here at this building? No. Vote. All our endorsements are up now. No on all 6 propositions. No, 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 no. No on everything. Sheila Kuehl for supervisor, Nadine Diaz for city council, and you must read Dick Reardon's new book, The Mayor, and find out when he was mayor, the LA Times, he admits it, covered up the fact that he had prostate cancer and was treated for 3 months. Just the way the same LA Times covers up the mayor's gay lover, Glenn Dake, Garcetti's the mayor.
Great, thank you very much. That concludes, we got Juan. Please come on up.
This almost concludes public comment, but you cannot quiet the people. That lady before was telling you, you don't have jobs, you expect everybody to pick themselves up by their bootstraps, and what do we get? All we get is parking tickets, liens on our houses. I don't know how many bullshit laws you can implement to keep the people down. And who the hell are you to stay up on top of the people. You're a bunch of ignorants that should not even be here. All you're doing is looking for more money, more money, more money, more money. You know what? You're not going to get any honey. All you're going to get is bitterness from the people. So you all go screw yourselves.
Thank you so much. Okay, we'll go ahead and take Mr. Walsh on items 1, 2, 27, and 28. 1, 2, 27, and 28.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, or go to jwalshconfidential.wordpress.com, or just put up a Twitter just about 10 minutes ago, a tweet rather, on @HollywoodDems. The first issue, number 1, is, of course, appeals to the building and safety. You do a pretty good job on building and safety compared to other cities. Remember, when you do a good job, I will be the first one. See, when I get up here, you never know what I'm going to say. And nothing annoys, if you want to...
You stay on subject, people, please. You got to stick to the items. Yeah. 1, 2, 27, and 28.
I'm on number 2. And I'm going to annoy you again by saying you do a good job of fingerprinting, and I'm not sure whether Mr. Weezar was fingerprinted. I know that one of your, Mr. Alacon's been banned now from running for political office.
He is not talking about this item.
Yeah, it's not on the item. So that was your last warning, or you're going to go ahead and forfeit your time if you're not on the items.
Relative to negotiating and executing a lease with the Hollywood property owners for retail space at 1710 North Cherokee. This is a sweetheart deal for Hollywood property owners. The particular lease is about 1/3 of what the going rate is. You are, in fact, subsidizing the property owners while the Hollywood Boulevard is an absolute mess. And on number 27, these are REAP, and the owners have corrected the REAP violations, and now they will be able to collect rent directly. Up until now, remember, I tell everybody out there, if you have any code violations in your apartment, go right to the city. The city will come and inspect, and then if your landlord doesn't repair it in a certain amount of time, a short amount of time, then the landlord isn't going to be paying rent. You're not going to be paying rent to the landlord anymore. You're going to be paying rent to the city. Now, they don't tell you the full REAP story, but that is the full REAP story. And as far as as I've said, the fingerprinting is vehicle for hire, driver permitting functions. You have a number, $88, to increase to $88. We should be increasing a lot more fees to the city from, we should be lowering the fees instead of raising fees to the city the way the city council wastes money. This is John Walsh, and if you want to, HollywoodHighlands.org, J. Walsh Confidential, @HollywoodDems. Come to our website and learn more about Dick Reardon's book, The Mayor, HollywoodHighlands.org.
Thank you very much. And we're going to ask again, please do not stand in the aisles unless your name is called if you're in the aisles. Please don't stay in the aisles. Thank you very much. We're going to go ahead and take item 1 for cards. Actually, we've got Hermedad.
I know.
Good morning.
Good morning. Laura Portillo here on behalf of Hermandad Mexicana Nacional.
I just got this case, and there's a dispute as to who owns the property that's actually subject to the lien, but I'm now in discussions with the Department of Building and Safety, and we think we can resolve this factual dispute. So I request that we return the first week of November. For 11559 Sherman Way in North Hollywood.
Mr. President, I'd like to request that we continue that matter until which date would work best?
Any day in the first week of November is fine.
Till the second week of November.
Okay. Then that'll be the order without objection. We'll go ahead and do that. Thank you very much.
And Mr. President, for clarification, 3 weeks would be November 4.
3 weeks is November 4th. That's correct. November 4th. Great. Thank you very much, Councilman Krikorian. Okay, Glenn Bowdy? Bodie?
Yes, sir.
Glenn?
Try to figure out a way to get through here. Is this item 1I?
I'm sorry?
Are we speaking about item 1I?
1I. Yes, sir. The card that you filled out.
Yeah, how much time do we have to speak?
2 minutes.
We have 3 speakers. Do they each get 2 minutes?
If they each fill out a card.
They did, and they're...
We only have 2 cards, sir.
We've got a third one coming up. And I'm going to try to make this fast because you got 2 minutes. My name is Glenn Baud. I own a business called Municipal Resolution Services. I was in government for 35 years, everything from a council member to director of code enforcement. Mr. Medunio contacted me to review his process. I found several holes in your process that led me to tell him that there's a problem with it. We're going to briefly go over this, and I'm going to give him some time to talk about his contact with your staff. But basically, he had a tenant. Tenant was there 3 years. The tenant, after the first year, did not pay rent. He checked to see if the fees were paid. Every year, he would get a bill for $450. $450, $450, $450. Go to his tenant, say, did you pay this? Tenant says, yes. Next year, he gets a bill for $450, not $950, not $1,000, $450. Assumes his tenant paid it. Went to the next step. All right. Third month, $450. No accumulation of fees. Talked to his tenant. Said, I paid that. Tenant. But the third year, the tenant wasn't paying the rent, so he started calling City Hall and asking for the inspector. He did not get a call back. He got an attorney. Attorney says, hey, if his fees are delinquent, there's a problem because he's not paying his rent. Please let us know. No callback. All right. At that time, he found out that from he evicted his tenant, he got a bill, $6,000. Didn't know he owed it. So the problem we have is that you guys passed an ordinance and made the tenant responsible. Somewhere during that period, you figured out you can't collect from the tenant, so you said tenant and landlord. But when you changed that, you didn't change your billing system. So the landlord never gets a bill that says he owes all this amount when it's delinquent. He keeps getting $450 bills every week, every year. That's it. So he assumes it's paid. Now, Mr. Murdungo is going to talk to you a little bit about the contact he's had with staff. Mr. Murdungo?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to start. Hold on 1 second. Restart your clock. Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning. I'm Carl Medunio. I own the property at 637 Battery Street, San Pedro. Since I became aware of this and I tried to call Mr. Vorez and that staff, I have yet till today get a phone call back. Mr. Vorez refuses to call me back. I had 2 attorneys try to reach that office and staff to no avail. One was back through an email and just recently on this issue. The other issue is every time Mr. Vorez goes out there now to my new tenant, he keeps telling him, you tell your property owner to get rid of his attorney and I'll talk to him. So in trying to deal with that, plus dealing with what I have going on here now with this lien, and I need to remind you, I'm the property owner, not the tenant. Those bills came in the property owner, in the tenant's name, in the business's name. It did not come in my name. The personal property tax this is being assessed onto, I do not own the property either. I do not own the individual equipment that was there when the tenant was there. I had to evict this tenant. I also have an arrest warrant out for this tenant. This tenant lied to me for those 3 years. The 18 years prior to this, all these bills were paid because my tenants did their duty and they paid their bills. I never got any notices on anything for 18 years. So when this came up and these bills were coming in for just for the regular tax or inspection, whatever you guys want to call it, for $450, I had no way of knowing there was any previous balance because it never says that on any of the paperwork. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
With the permission of the chair, Patricia's here. We have a little follow-up to that. We'd like to talk to you since you ordered us to meet with staff. Could you give me some of her time as leeway to explain what happened?
Oh, I'm sorry. Patricia is up. Oh, we can't yield time to each other, but Patricia is up. And sir, and the reason is we stick to the rules if we change them for each particular topic and issue. So we've got to just stick to them consistently. It's okay. All right, Patricia.
We were told 6 weeks ago it was continued.
My name is Patricia Modugno. I'm also the owner of the property at 637 Battery Street. We've owned the property since December of 1985. Our tenant didn't pay those business inspection fees. We never had any affiliation with that business except for him being our tenant. First time we ever heard about a business inspection fee was in 2008 when the city was starting to send it to us as well. Prior to that, they were being billed since 1995 for previous tenants, only to the tenants, not to us being the property owner. We started this process in August of 26. We've never had a call from the inspector because I'm the one who answers the phone. And he has our business phone number. He never calls us. He only harasses the tenant. The tenant tells him to call us. He doesn't call us. We need to know if this is our final place where we need to, if this is our final appeal.
No, if this is the final level.
If this is the final level with the city. We've already filed a brief that we filed in protest. You even have your information wrong that you show on your website that there was a comment that was submitted in 2001, and if you click on that, that's actually a letter that we wrote in 2014. So we need to know if this is our final place where we need to appeal, because we are not going to pay a unsecured debt of our tenant and have you turn it into a secured debt when we are not responsible. The tenant, the business owner, is responsible.
Thank you, sir. Point of
Great. Thank you very much. Your time is up, but appreciate it. Thank you so much. With that, we're going to go ahead and take 1I. Thank you very much. I've got to ask you to clear the aisle now. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. We'll go ahead. 1I is before us. Council members, 1I. We'll come back to the other items in a moment. Please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, that item is approved. Thank you. And with that, we'll go ahead and take it back open to Donna on item. We'll go ahead and let's put items 1, 2, 27, and 28 back up on the board all together. 1, 2, 27, and 28, and 1 will include the balance of 1. And while the clerk is putting those back up on the boards, if I can draw your attention to Councilmember Gil Cedillo.
Council members, I want to introduce the 9th grade class of Sacred Heart High School. Please stand. Stand up. From Lincoln Heights, and they're here with their teacher today, Ms. Arredondo. Future leaders, future council members of the city of Los Angeles, coming from the great Lincoln Heights area and from the great Sacred Heart High School. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. And we have a request, colleagues, before we take the other items and go back to general public comment, a request to go ahead and reconsider items 22. So we'll go ahead and open the roll on reconsideration of item 22, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, so that item is now before us. Councilmember Krikorian, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Members, I just wanted to add a verbal amendment to the Budget and Finance Committee report on this matter. I'd like to move that the Council amend recommendation number 1 of the Budget and Finance Committee report to reduce the encumbrance for additional funding for the Attorney's Conflict Panel by $1,200,000. The new sum for the encumbrance should be $2,675,000 for a revised contract with the law firm with a cumulative total of $5,125,000. The import of this motion, members, is to provide for funding for the outside counsel in this matter through approximately December so that counsel can continue to revisit this matter and provide oversight both during that amount of time and then reconsider the issues for the coming year. I'd also like to ask that the CAO be instructed to report to the Budget and Finance Committee with all of the legal bills that have been provided by the law firm to date and continuing to report those bills to the Budget and Finance Committee on an ongoing basis as they're received.
Okay, and we're looking for a second on that. Second, Councilmember Bob Blumenfield. So with that second, colleagues, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Great. That item's approved. Okay, thank you very much. Now we're going to go ahead and go to to item 15, called special, and we're going to turn it over to Bob Blumenfield. Councilmember.
Great. Thank you. Mr. President, thank you. This motion is the latest in a series of motions that I've introduced to make the city of Los Angeles greener and cleaner, to make us more environmentally friendly, and ultimately to help save us some money. It's a series of motions. We've had motions about rec and parks using drought-tolerant landscaping whenever possible on park property. We've done motions about looking at the energy and water-saving strategies, looking at permeable parking lots, alternative sidewalks. The reason why I asked to call this one special, we have some experts in the field that we want to bring to the table. And also, the mayor is holding a press conference today to talk about his own efforts on greening and up the city of Los Angeles, which are completely in line with the efforts that we as a council, not only the motions that I've been making, but many of the people around this horseshoe have been making on trying to make our city cleaner and greener. Specifically, what this motion is about developing a standard for using artificial turf on our parkways. It's frustrating as someone who, myself, I recently did my own lawn, my front lawn, but did drought-tolerant landscaping, but didn't do anything about the front parkway because you have to go through permits and it's a whole process. So the idea of this motion is to develop a standard, asking our experts to develop a standard of how to use, what the best way to use artificial turf on the parkway would be and how it would be permitted. There'll be issues of water infiltration. There'll be issues of water quality. Not every piece of artificial turf makes sense on the parkway, but there certainly would be some that would make sense, and it would help a lot of people and encourage and incentivize a lot of people to do it, people like myself who would have done it if there was an easy permitting process. So with that, what I'd like to do after we hear from our speakers is bring forward the experts that we have brought here to testify. That's Lee Wallach of Faith to Green, David Jacote of the DWP, and Michael Cantor of BOE, who will be here to answer questions for us on this motion.
They'll be here for questions, but not, okay. Okay, if we can
offer expert testimony and answer questions.
If we could just have the departments come up first, and then the expert testimony, let's hold them for a moment. Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Mike Cantor, Deputy City Engineer with the Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, David Jacote, Director of Efficiency Solutions at Los Angeles Department of Water and Power.
Just a brief introduction. We we are here to look at artificial turf for use in what we call the parkway. It's essentially the city easement area outside, usually back of curb to the property line. And the idea is to come up with a way to make it simpler, less costly, and more streamlined so that property owners that wish to replace turf with artificial turf can do so. And we're available to answer any questions that you may have.
And I'm sorry. And for us with the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, artificial turf is just one of many potential measures that customers can replace live turf with and reduce their water usage. So we offer programs and assistance such as incentives to remove live turf and replace it with, and there's a list of applicable measures, of which artificial turf is one, but others such as drought-tolerant landscaping or California-friendly plantings are other strategies that customers can use. So artificial turf is just one of many potential turf replacement strategies.
Okay, members, do we have any questions? Members? Yes. Councilmember Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, what was the original reason for a $2,000 charge to change turf in the parkway?
Well, currently artificial turf is what we call a non-standard material. And the installation of anything within the parkway needs to be a standard material. And so the Bureau of Engineering can issue typically what we call a Class A permit for that material. Because there are no approved products and there's no installation standard that's approved, the only way we can move forward with that is using what we call a revocable permit. And that's where you're getting the $2,000 number. And that permit is intended for non-standard installations.
And I know we've been working hard this year with sanitation to examine and address our $8 billion TMDL problem. Has sanitation had a chance to weigh in on the issue of artificial turf in the parkways, and have they looked at whether we're adding to our problems in regards to this?
I can only speak for the Bureau of Engineering. At this point, we have not had discussions with the Bureau of Sanitation relative to this item.
We have not yet either, but we would anticipate that the development of a standard for artificial turf would be something we'd work closely with the Bureau of Sanitation on as a partner to mitigate any concerns.
Could we have a representative from sanitation come up and address this?
This is Wing Tam with the Bureau of Sanitation, with the watershed program. And to address the question regarding stormwater, artificial turf has the potential to retard infiltration as well as release black particles that could go to the storm drain and impact our TMDLs.
So have we looked at permeability problems closely yet, particularly relating to our ability to replenish our San Fernando Valley aquifer, et cetera?
I mean, we were glad to look at it, but I know over time that with anything artificial like that, it will decrease the amount of infiltration you're allowed to get into the groundwater.
Yeah, if we could get a report back on that from sanitation, that would be great as this process moves forward.
Definitely.
Also, I've been working with native plant organizations like Theodore Payne Foundation and California Native Plant Society as we've been landscaping the expo line. And they've educated me quite a bit, and as a result, we moved the expo line from 3% natives to 90% natives. And it provides a lot of habitat for everything from hummingbirds to butterflies and bees. And seems to be of significant value. So I'd ask that we look at that issue as we move forward with this. Also, UCLA has a grand challenge to achieve 100% sustainability and biodiversity in our region by 2050. And I'd like us to ask them to weigh in on this issue as well. And particularly, I think we also want to look at, as with global warming, increase in the heat, especially in the valley, the heat island effect of artificial turf. So if we could have a report back on all of that as this goes through the process. I know this motion is specifically primarily about decreasing bureaucracy, and I trust Councilmember Blumenfield's environmental stewardship and focus on this. So I'm not going to oppose this at this point, but I would ask that we look very carefully at all of these issues as we move forward.
Okay, Councilmember Fuentes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So can you just describe for me the process that this motion is going to go through, just so I know what the next stops are? And you mentioned non-standard, which is the reason why the permit is so expensive. At what point do we begin to sort of review what standard ought to be, given the sort of water recharge needs that the city of Los Angeles is trying to sort of take on?
The process of creating standards is something that we do on a regular basis. It's typically associated with development services, and so usually the developers or the product manufacturers pay us to do this review and create the standards. So in this situation, we're hopeful that the Department of Water and Power can cover the cost, the staff cost. And what we will do is we will bring the manufacturers in, have them provide us products. Hopefully they have done testing of those products. We will look at an installation standard, which is something the contractor needs to put it in. Just like right now, the Department of Building and Safety has hundreds of standard plans for house-type construction where you don't need to do anything. As long as you build it to that simple plan, you can install it. And so that's the idea, is we want to create the standards for the installation and also identify products, do that in cooperation with the manufacturers. And with that, we can, over the counter, do the permitting process much more simply, and so that the homeowners can make sure these products are installed properly.
So, Wayne, is the concern that some of these technologies, i.e. the artificial turf, are going to compound our MS4 compliance problem that we currently have?
That is correct.
Okay. Yes. So this is going to go to Public Works. Is that where it goes to next, this motion?
Well,
or you already heard it. And
yes,
so now you all
action.
are going to go do the work and then come back to Public Works to sort of help us understand what it is that you come up with?
Yes.
As DWP, you mentioned that you're hoping that they will pay for the work. Has there been resolution in terms of who's actually going to help supply the resources, whatever those may be, to make sure that we come up with the appropriate standards?
Right. We're working on a detailed work plan for how we'll get this done. But in general, the department does support the development of what we call code standards and ordinances if it helps, prime the market for a particular measure that we're trying to get out there so customers can take advantage of it for driving either energy or water efficiency.
Sure.
So it's not without precedent for us to support.
Very good, colleagues. Well, what I think what's important here is that we are trying to pivot how it is that we look at landscaping, whether it's on your yard or in the public right of way, and this is a very good motion that attempts to do that. While I like artificial turf, I think it's important for us to overall understand a way that we can make it more affordable, whether it's artificial turf, whether it's natives, whether it's California-friendly vegetation, whatever it is. We have to make our side of the equation, the permitting, the ease with which that goes by, more easier for our constituents so that we can deploy these technologies as quickly as possible. And Mr. Blumenfield, I would love very much if this item, after it was done in Public Works, made its way to Energy and Environment so we can really sort of give it a good scrub given all of the work that we've been doing in the committee.
Okay. Mr. Blumenfield to close.
Great. Thank you very much, and appreciate the expert testimony that we've had here. I think this is a good motion. urging everyone to support it. Again, it's to develop the standards. Then we get to look at those standards, and I'm happy to have it come through E&E once we get those standards. It moves us along in this process. It's one of many steps to give real options to consumers, because right now it's bureaucratic and it's costly for consumers to take advantage of the panoply of options that are out there. So with that, I close and I urge your support on this item. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And so the recommendation is to have a full scrub down in E2 as well on this. Is that, as I understand it?
Standard, and then they'll bring the standard back, but
Okay.
to move forward with the motion.
To move forward with the motion, but there was the request, a friendly amendment. Was that not?
Once they develop the standard, then
Okay.
it all come back.
It'll all come back here.
It all comes back, yeah.
Okay.
But they develop.
Okay, council members, we'll go ahead and open the roll on that item, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Great, thank you very much.
Mr. Clerk, we're going to go to item 2. I have Mr. Sachs and Mr. Alcala on item number 2.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Arnold Sachs, and where were the experts? This refers to fingerprinting for vehicles for hire. So does this also include the limousine drivers? And how is that new ordinance, that new oversight being handled? And what about people who use these new systems on iPhone or iPad, where Lyft and where they can call private vehicle owners to come pick them up? Is there a fingerprinting system involved in that? Do those drivers need to have themselves fingerprinted? We don't know. And how would that happen? And because vehicles for hire is basically mentioned is inclusive of taxi cabs, and the city operates under a franchise system, they're business owners. Do you require fingerprinting from all business owners that operate throughout the city of Los Angeles?
Mr. Alcala.
The key here is to over-regulate everything. How do you drive your car? Who do you put in your car? Who do you transport in your car? Should we make a business out of private people giving you a ride? There's already people like that. And should they be fingerprinted? Probably yes. Even though the fingerprinting is not gonna avoid any violence or anything that the driver might cause on the passenger, nor is gonna avoid any violence from the passenger doing aggression on the driver. So fingerprinting, I don't know. I think you're better off just sticking your finger up your ass.
Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
We're now going to move to item 27. I have 2 cards, Mr. Alcala and Sachs. Mr. Alcala. Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you, Arnold Sachs. And just out of curiosity, after hearing the fascinating discussion about item number 1, is this a debt? Oh, no, this is a rent that's paid. So do you have a rent escrow account program for businesses that are, let's say, graffiti covered? Do they incur any kind of inspection? Is that the difference between the rent escrow and the lien program? That the lien program is for businesses and the rent escrow is for housing units? And again, with housing units being the operable cause here, what about foreclosed properties? Because those are housing units, and there's no inspection done on those. And why is that? 3, we heard that you enforce the rules. That's a rule. That's a law that you created to fight the angry banks, the ugly banks, and yet in 4 years, not one home has been inspected because of foreclosure problems. And why is that again?
This is not about the foreclosure.
Get back on the subject, Arnold, please.
It said it's not about the foreclosure program. So, but this is about rental properties. And can a foreclosed property be assessed a lien or being under the rent escrow property account program? So who pays? If it's a foreclosed property and it's an empty house and it falls into REAP, who would pay? The business owner? The property owner? The tenant? Who would pay? Who comes out and does the inspection? You have the same ball of wax.
Thank you. Let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Item 28, Mr. Akala. Mr. Akala. Now just come on and speak, followed by Ms. Pearman and Mr. Sachs.
1 minute on this. Item 28, consideration, motion of Farrell Bloomfield relative to negotiating and executing a lease with Hollywood Property Owners Alliance for the city-owned retail office space at 1710 North Cherokee Avenue. I don't know. You just overregulate everything, and you make Los Angeles.
Stay on the subject. Stay on the subject.
Very unfriendly to business. I recommend that nobody comes to LA to do business because you're going to get ripped off.
Thank you. Ms. Pearman, followed by Mr. Sachs.
We should keep all these agenda items down in a minute. Give us back our 2 minutes for public comment. Anyway, this says John Walsh says this to me to be a sweetheart deal. I believe that you don't seem to care about anything of the normal people of Los Angeles, but you keep on giving out sweetheart deals to these people like in Hollywood. And we need to stop giving out this for a song. We need to stop giving out places for a song. This is not right for a retail spot over there. I could believe John Walsh would know that this is a sweetheart deal. So, and let's care about Van Nuys, and let's bring back video conferencing.
Stay on the subject. Okay, Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good morning again, Arnold Sachs. And this is a lease, city-owned retail office space. Is it just office space in a building? And this address, why does Cherokee Avenue sound so familiar? Because that was isn't that part of that earthquake fault zone that stopped the Millennium construction or had to be investigated for the construction around the Millennium housing, retail, office building space. And the Hollywood Property Owners Alliance, is that the nonprofit? Would that be the nonprofit that runs the Hollywood Business District or the Property Owners District and is separate from them? And where do they get their funding from to pay this lease?
Let's prepare to vote. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
We'll now move to item 1, Mr. Kala, followed by Mr. Sachs, followed by Ms. Pearman.
Great, great. Item 1 proves once again that City Hall is an enemy to the people. That City Hall's main objective is to just take money from everybody and anybody, and especially if you're already a homeowner, they're going to hit you with one thing and another and another. Look at these liens. $10,739, $994, $658, $3,000, $1,000, $3,000, $8,000 and some dollars. And where in the hell do you think that the owners of these properties are going to get the money? You don't have jobs for anybody. $5,000, $6,000. Everything here to you is just like a little game. A money, you are a damn monopoly game. Look at Mr. City Attorney. Doesn't he look like the monopoly guy?
Stay on the subject.
The subject is the city keeps monopolizing the right to own a little place to live.
Stay on the subject. That's not on the subject. Thank you, Mr. Kala. Who's next? Mr. Sachs, come on. Ms. Pearman, you're right there. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Speed reading business at the city council. Remember, it's your city council, not my city council. Fascinating again, the discussion. Unsecured debt, whereas a lien makes it secured debt. And a tenant gets notified, but the property owner doesn't. How do you rectify that situation? That's what the people just got up here and discussed. They said their tenant had been notified time and time again, and they were told that he was paying the bills, whatever was being charged. Turns out he wasn't. So not only do they have to get these costs incurred upon them, but then they have to go against the tenant and have to file charges against him and pursue them in court and pay those costs. That's almost like you're creating a situation where the tenant, the owner, the property owner trying to do business in the city pays through double jeopardy.
Thank you, Ms. Pearman.
Yeah, we need to get it where the proper person is paying for the things. Don't go after the owner if the tenant is supposed to be paying for. But basically what we got here is all these big liens over here, and where you can get up to $10,000 or another one for $6,000, another one for $5,994. Isn't there a way that we could got it at a lot lower area and then have them pay it at that point and have a little meeting between them and made it completely understood that this has to be paid for? Or get it down at the beginning where they could get it, wiped it out, waived it at the earlier time. This just shows that just inefficiency at city government. Inefficient, inefficient, and here you give us down 2 minutes.
No, that's not on the subject. Thank you, Ms. Pearman. Thank you very much. Okay, members, on this item, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, before we go to the next item, I'd like to recognize, I lost him. Mr. Bonin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, we're going to be going into closed session in a bit, and I asked for the courtesy to announce that I'm going to be making an adjourning motion at the end of today's meeting on behalf of Maury Plotkin, a Westchester civic leader who passed last week at age 97. We're joined today by his son, Larry, and his grandson, Andrew, who happens to be an intern in my office. Maury was one of a handful of people, civic leaders, who really shaped and created Westchester, carved it out of a community, a sleepy community of bean fields, into a place that really feels like a small town. A guy who lived and breathed civic culture, a leader in various civic organizations, a leader in his church, and he died last week, as I said, at age 97, and it was heartbreaking for the community. At that age, not entirely unexpected, a life well lived, but still a blow to a lot of people who saw him as an inspiration. He was born in 1916 in Dallas. He moved to Eagle Rock in 1930, graduated from UCLA in 1938, and got a master's in poli-sci in 1940. He married the love of his life in 1943, and they shared 63 wonderful years together. He served in the U.S. Army Corps during World War II, and he retired as a major in 1957. His service to the LAX area neighborhoods and the coastal community was pretty unparalleled. His service was felt far and wide. He was involved in organizations such as the LAX Coastal Chamber of Commerce, the Covenant Presbyterian Church, where he taught Bible study, Westchester Playa Village, Empower Tech, the Flight Path Museum, and many, many more. In 1986, he was the LAX Coastal Chamber's honorary mayor, and in 92, he served as the Chamber's chairman of the board, which they then called president. In 2006, he was given the Fritz Burns Outstanding Community Service and Leadership Award, and in 2010, he received the Howard Drollinger Leadership Award, named for someone else who helped carve that community out of bean fields. Last week, I was at the Westchester Family YMCA's Hero Awards, and we gave an award to Chief Beck. That's an award that Maury got back in 2010. In 2013, he also got the Inspirational Senior Award from the Flight Path Museum, which he helped found and which he served on the board of. He lived life with a simple mantra: life is better when you're nice to people. He was a pillar in the community. He led with both word and with deed, and gave an example of how incredible life can be when you care about others. He's survived by his 2 children, Larry and his sister Lisa, as well as 4 grandchildren, Matthew, Sarah, Andrew, and Kaylee. It was a family that sort of lives civic involvement. Larry drove me this year in the 4th of July parade in Westchester, which is a real hometown event. He's active in the chamber and in the Rotary, and I'm really thrilled that Andrew is an intern in my office and is carrying on the tradition of service that his grandfather started. His service will be held Sunday, October 26th at Covenant Presbyterian Church in Westchester. He'll be truly missed by everyone in Westchester. God bless, and may he be remembered. Thank you, Mr. President, for that.
Thank you, Mr. Bonin, and we look forward to that at the end of today's session. Sergeants, we're going to go into closed session. If you could please clear the chambers. second is about all I have. Okay, thank you. We are back in open session. And Mr. Clerk, we have concluded our general public comment has been concluded. So that brings us where?
Mr. President, Council has motions for posting and referral.
Okay, let's consider them posted and referred.
The desk is clear.
Okay, announcements. Announcements, members. Can we all rise for adjourning motions? All rise for adjourning motions. All rise for adjourning motions. Mr. Parks.
Just as a follow-up to last Friday, we did an adjourning motion for Harold Hambrick in the City of LA. We got notified today that his funeral is Friday at 10 o'clock at Victory Baptist Church.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. Mr. Bonin?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to make official that we adjourn in memory of Maury Plotkin, whose family was here earlier today.
Thank you. Any other adjourning motions? Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. If Mr. Labange were here today, he would certainly join me in making a motion to adjourn in memory of Guy Weddington McCreary, who was an accomplished historian, preservationist, and a descendant of one of the most important families in the history of the San Fernando Valley and its development. And he was really a champion for the valley's history and continuing to preserve it. He was born and raised in the San Fernando Valley, graduated from North Hollywood High, and received a degree in history. And it was appropriate that he spent so much of his time working on preservation of the history of the San Fernando Valley because he and his family played such a critical role in it. The Weddington family really settled and developed North Hollywood, Studio City, Toluca Lake. In many ways, they laid the groundwork for the valley that we know today. Guy's family came to what is now known as North Hollywood in 1886. The oldest house in North Hollywood is the Weddington House, which still stands, and we're working on preserving it now. The Weddington's original farm included most of the area, and the Weddington family, throughout their 128-year history in the valley, provided the land or built the first school, the first jail, the first fire station, the first train depot in North Hollywood. They built the North Hollywood Post Office, the El Portal Theater, the Bank of Lankershim, the North Hollywood Library, and gave the land for $10 for what's now known as North Hollywood Park. They operated the Bonner Packing Company, which produced and shipped San Fernando Valley produce throughout the United States and throughout the world. Valley transportation, as we know it, is very much dependent upon the legacy of the Weddington family. The Weddington Investment Company were the folks who brought the Pacific Electric Red Car to the valley in the early 1900s. And Guy himself was critically important in bringing the Metro Red Line subway to the San Fernando Valley. He served on the boards of 7 organizations, all aimed at getting the subway to North Hollywood, and he succeeded. Guy Weddington McCreary also pushed for North Hollywood to become the NoHo Arts District. He drove the redevelopment, the very successful redevelopment of North Hollywood, which stands as a model for how redevelopment can work and taking a neighborhood that's become blighted and making it an exciting, modern, productive part of our city. And that's what he was successful in doing in North Hollywood. Guy, like all of his predecessors in the Weddington family, served much of his time serving the public. He was a commissioner on the Los Angeles County Commission for Public Social Services and was involved in just about every Valley organization, but including the Universal City North Hollywood Chamber, the Jaycees, Toluca Little League, the Kiwanis Club, and the Key Club. Perhaps most importantly, since the 1970s, Guy Weddington McCreary was the real champion of the Campo de Cahuenga, the place, probably the most historic spot in Southern California, the true birthplace of what we know of as California today. He personally led yearly celebrations and worked hard to preserve the Campo and to allow people to understand its historical significance. He and his wife Diane have also served as advisors to the Museum of the San Fernando Valley, and he was president of the Weddington Heritage House. Guy was a real Renaissance man, and he also he was a published and noted writer who in 1974 wrote a book on the history of the Mexican Revolution called From Glory to Oblivion, which was highly acclaimed, read, and studied by high school and college students throughout the country. Guy Weddington McCreary is someone that the Valley and all of Los Angeles will never be able to replace, will sorely miss, but at the same time, we will very much benefit from the legacy that he and his family left. Guy Weddington McCreary is survived by his wife Diane, his son Jonathan, many, many friends and colleagues and others throughout the Valley, and he'll be missed by those who he never met, but who were impacted by his great legacy as well. Funeral services for Guy Weddington McCreary will be held at 11 a.m. this Friday at the First Christian Church of North Hollywood on Colfax Avenue in Studio City. And the family has requested that any remembrances be made to Guy's one true, real passion, the Campo de Cuenca Historical Memorial Association, which can be found at campodecuenca.org, P.O. Box 956, North Hollywood, California. And all of Los Angeles will miss Guy Weddington McCreary, but we all benefit from all of the legacy that he left us.
Thank you, and you're right. Mr. Labonge would be right at your side on this. Seeing no additional adjourning motions, this meeting is adjourned.